Manchester City looking to avoid 3 defeats in a row in 3 different competitions after getting knocked out by Spurs in the Carabao Cup. Then we lost our 32-game unbeaten streak in the Premier League, losing to bloody Bournemouth. And then we're now facing Sporting Lisbon, hoping to maintain our 26-game unbeaten streak in normal time, at least, unless you want to include that penalty shootout against Real Madrid. Some people do. Manchester City fans do not. And we are going to call that a 26-game unbeaten streak. That's what I'm going to call it. And we want to maintain that against Sporting Lisbon. It's going to be a really difficult game, though. But I want to see City fans unite a little bit more, because what I've seen lately is a very split, a divide. Again, polarising opinions. And it's understanding to see the disagreement there. I figure that Manchester City fans are going to have differing opinions, especially when you get different age categories, a different demographic of people watching Manchester City nowadays. I think the old school fans, I think they need to understand that the standards have gone up now. You can't keep clinging on to the relegation days. In my head as well, I was there. Don't pretend I wasn't there. I was there. You know, we are now a different football club to back then. We do not look like that football club. We have foreign ownership with a vast amount of wealth to invest into Manchester City. The standards have gone up, the expectancy levels have gone up, and we don't want to accept mediocrity. Otherwise, we will just become mediocre. The new age City fans need to understand that you can't just write a season off because we've lost a couple of games. It's the same the other way. There has to be an ample amount of middle ground between the two drastic opinions of Manchester City fans that I'm seeing nowadays. And it's alarming to see that there's such a big divide between the fans. And, no one fan, me included, absolutely, of course, even though I'm here with a platform to speak on, doesn't make me the gatekeeper to Manchester City and the final say on who gets to support Manchester City and who doesn't get to support Manchester City and what opinions should be accepted and what opinions shouldn't be accepted. I'm not that guy. There's no one is that guy. Not even Pep Guardiola is that guy. Because I tell you what, I was here long before Pep Guardiola was, and I'll be here long after Pep Guardiola's gone as well. You know, as many other City fans in the same position as well. But ultimately, I do think this has been blown out of proportion. I think we can contain these opinions to 90 minutes and not explode these opinions over to vastly and just brush the whole season, tarnish the whole season with the same brush of just, that's it, season's over. Season's over because we lost to Bournemouth. You know, we don't have to be that drastic. I think the City fans need to be a little bit more understanding of the circumstances. There are certainly injuries, but there are definitely players that are not playing well. I don't feel like Gundogan and Phil Foden, they are not hitting the heights. Is Phil Foden trying to find a new line of form, a new style to his game? Because I've seen him play a little bit differently lately. He's dropping a little bit deeper. He's getting involved in a lot more crosses than he's used to. He takes our corners now every time. So I feel like there's a new developing Phil Foden. He's got enough credit in the bank, Phil Foden, as does Pep Guardiola and as does Ilkay Gundogan. You know, all these legends just don't need to be written off completely and say, get rid of them. They're finished, finito. I don't believe in that at all, because these players will hurt you if you believe that. You know, they will make you look like a fool further down the line, especially the likes of Phil Foden, because you know what he's capable of. If there's something going on off the field, fine. We have to let him ride through that and come through the other side of that situation and become and reach the heights that we know he can reach. And I believe he's going to do that. This is going to be a fantastic test for Manchester City, but you're hoping the likes of Ruben Amorim is that the news surrounding Amorim, that he's basically a Manchester United manager, was going to disgruntle a few of the sporting superstars, the like of Victor Gyökeres, who's got 20 goals in 17 games to his name this season. What a fantastic goal scorer he's proving to be. Signed for 25 million from Coventry, an unknown quantity that no one really knew about until he ends up start banging them in the back of the net for Sporting Lisbon on an abnormally frequent basis, you know? And who signed him? People will say, United fans will tell you Ruben Amorim did, but Manchester City fans will tell you Hugo Viana signed Victor Gyökeres, and he is now on his way to becoming the Manchester City sporting director. So all eyes on Sporting Lisbon right now. The template, the blueprint that they have set in place has lured over the likes of Manchester City to poach their sporting director, and Manchester United to poach their head coach in Ruben Amorim. So they're obviously a fantastically well-run club. They've won their last 6 games. I was hoping the news would be Amorim to Manchester United equals a decline in Sporting Lisbon. Not to be the case. Prior to that, the news, they were on a massive winning streak. They have won their last 6 games, Sporting Lisbon, but since the Amorim news, they've won their last 2 as well, winning 5-1 against Estrella, with Victor Gyökeres getting 4 of the 5. So he is on fire right now. And it's an exciting game for Manchester City. Like I said, I think it's the perfect test. I really do believe that it's a really ideal test for Manchester City. Will we see the likes of De Bruyne, Savinho, who were unused, strangely unused substitutes, but they were on the bench? Why were they on the bench? We still do not know. Will they be on the bench again, just as a piece of furniture? Or will they be actually used as football players this time? Who knows? But it's the perfect opportunity, if they're available to play them. So I'm hoping we do, especially the likes of Savinho. De Bruyne, there's obviously something long-term going on with him. Unknown. But it's going to be an amazing game. We've had some decent games against them in the past. The last time we faced them, in fact, was in the last 16. We went away to their ground and embarrassed Ruben Amorim, who was the manager of Sporting Lisbon at the time, and we embarrassed them 5-0. They did come back and do pretty well, actually, at the Etihad with a 0-0 draw, but the damage was done in the first leg when we wiped the floor with them 5-0. So I would like to see something similar to that again, to send Amorim off with a little message, welcome to Manchester, mate, and pan him against Sporting Lisbon. He will obviously have a better set of players. Well, you'd think that, wouldn't you? Because they are meant to be really good players, these Manchester. The money that they've spent on them, you'd expect them to be delivering a little bit better than they did yesterday under Ruud van Nistelrooy, but that's a story for another day. Team news for Manchester City, the usual suspects of Rodri and Bob are out. Grealish as well, continuing to be out. I expect to see him back after the international break. Stones has been added to the list. Just before the Bournemouth game, that news broke. Ruben Diaz has been added to the injury list as well, but that is it. But Rodri and Bob, that's it. Yeah, it's big. We've got 5 key players out there. That's a big blow to Manchester City. I'm not papering over the cracks there and pretending that's not a problem. It is a problem. But we've got Gvardiol, we've got Akanji, we've got Nathan Ake, The Stones and Diaz, they're covered. You're just praying that they can come back sooner. Wingers now, yep, you've lost Bob, you've lost Grealish, but Nunes is banging them in for fun and getting assists in the process. You've got Doku, who came on as a substitute for the final 5 minutes against Bournemouth. Savinho was an unused substitute, so hopefully he gets some minutes as well. So we've got options. Obviously, the centre of midfield, Kovacic is going to be used heavily this season, and he's going to be worn down to the point where January, I think we need to be looking at getting cover for Kovacic now. That was the debate in the summer, wasn't it? Who we're going to cover for Rodri. Now we need cover for Kovacic. But it's interesting. In terms of Sporting Lisbon, Nuno Santos, who's out for the season, in fact, with his knee injury, and Eduardo Quaresma, he's out as well. Predicted starting 11. I'm going to go with Sporting first. That typical 3-4-3 that Manchester United fans are going to have to get used to, because he's going to bring that with him to Old Trafford. Israel in goal for Sporting Lisbon. I think we'll see De Bast, Diomande and Inacio as the back 3. I think then we'll see Giovanni Quenda. Where are you, mate? There you are. They've got a lot of versatile players. They can play deep as the wingers in particular are very versatile at Sporting Lisbon. You can play as the front 3 or part of the back, or the middle 4 rather, I should say. And he can do either of those jobs, but I have a feeling he'll be playing on the right of the 4 with Haaland in defensive midfield alongside Morita. On the left for Sporting Lisbon, I'm going to go with Katamo, who's been playing quite well for them this season. Again, another very versatile player. The big man, the goal scorer for Sporting, Gyökeres up front. Gonzalez, where are you, mate? There you are, going on the left with Trincao on the right for Sporting Lisbon. So a typical, versatile, very mobile, with a nice blend of age as well. That you've got experience and youth in that side as well for Sporting Lisbon. Manchester City, going to go with Ederson in goal. I think our hand's been kind of forced again. One player I don't really want to see on this pitch though tomorrow night is Kyle Walker. So I'm going to go with Akanji right back. I'm going to go with Nathan Ake in the middle. I'm bloody blind today. I can't see half these players. I don't know what's going on. I'm absolutely just a blur of numbers in front of me. I think I've woken up with glaucoma or something. I don't know what's going on here. But Gvardiol, where is he? There he is, Gvardiol. And then in front of them, it's going to be Kovacic and Rico, who I want to see, because the alternative is Kyle Walker. Especially with the, I wouldn't mind seeing Stones in there or Akanji in there, but injured, so can't be used. This is where it gets interesting now. Out of form, Phil Foden. I think he needs to play and needs to gain form. You know, you can't just take players and drop them immediately for bad games. And I felt like he had a bad game against Bournemouth. But I mean, again, go out there and get some form, gather some momentum. And I want to see that. I'm going to go with Mateus Nunes in the middle. Again, something I would want to see rather than what I think we'll see. I'm not sure we will, because I feel like Bernardo Silva needs a rest. I'm going to go with Jeremy Doku. And Pep, you put him on the bench, so I'm assuming he's okay against Bournemouth. You didn't play him, but I'm hoping he's okay. So I'm going to go with Savinho on the left and Erling Haaland up top. And I feel like that side... Why shouldn't we be winning? Why should we be not winning that game? I feel like we will win this game, and I'm going to go 3-1 Manchester City. What's your predictions? Get in the comments below. Don't forget to join me for the watch along. Take care, Blues, and I'll see you in the next one.
This is typical City now, holding up Silva.